Yo guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another Turbo Tyler video. Today we're doing some more work to the Focus. It's another improvement since the track day, and today we're going to be installing this. This is a oil cooler. So these two lines here is where coolant comes in. And then the oil is on the other side. So as the oil and coolant sort of flow through here, this surface area allows it to dissipate heat, and the coolant takes the heat from the oil. At least that's my understanding of them. And this one right here is off the Focus RS. So the dimensions are physically bigger, and it's just better flow and better for cooling. So the reason most people would put this on their car, it's quite a common upgrade for the Focus. The reason most people would put it on is for when they're modifying it and pushing more power, which is one of the reasons I'm putting it on. But I'm also wanting to do it since the track day. So my oil temp was getting a bit high on track, which is to be expected. It wasn't too crazy, but this is sort of just preventative maintenance kind of to make sure the oil stays nice and cool. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. So we'll see how that goes. Car's already on, the jack stands, under tray off, all that easy stuff you guys have seen me do loads of times. It should be relatively simple. We've got the four T30s to each side. And then these two hose clamps. I'm going to try get away with not draining all of the coolant. I have some special like hose pliers I've got borrowed from work, so we'll get into it, see how it goes. Okay, so now that we're underneath the car, I can show you guys what today's video is going to be involved, which is removing this right here. So this is the factory oil cooler, and something I never actually noticed is they are actually quite different looking to the RS ones. I didn't notice that this one had this plastic shroud on the outside, so I think the vanes in the new one is what gives it more surface area and better cooling efficiency. But like I said, while we're on top of the car, it's simply removing these two hoses. I'm going to try sort of plug them up, but now that I'm under here and sort of looking at what I'm actually doing realistically, I'm not sure if that's going to work, but we'll see. And then it's removing these T30s. So and this gold pipe you'll just have to ignore because that's part of another video. So yeah, we'll get started now by either draining or not draining the coolant. Hopefully not draining, but I do have coolant ready to go back in if that is necessary, but we'll find out right about now. I think I can do a compilation video on the channel of every time I take a pipe off and it just going absolutely everywhere, because it always seems to happen to me. And those little red pliers I've got on are doing absolutely nothing. So while we wait for this to finish draining, I'm just going to say that I'm going to be reusing this coolant. I will add some fresh coolant in as well. But this coolant I put in when I did my block mod. If you guys haven't seen that video, check that one out. And it's only about 2,000 kilometers old, so it's plenty fine to go back in. I've used a clean fluid catcher, and then I'm just going to pour it back in with some new fluid. So there we go. Remove that first pipe there. And now we're about to remove the second one, which the red hose clamp's still on, but I'm going to just be taking that off. And then it's time to remove the T30s. So far so good. So now that we've got both those pipes off and plugged, I've removed the coolant drain because I don't want the oil to drain and mix with the coolant. And now it's time to remove these T30 fasteners that you'll see for either side. And then it's time for the next version of spilling everything all over myself. So a bit of engine oil will drain out when you do this. You don't need to remove the oil, drain the oil from the engine. Won't make a difference, the same amount will drain out anyway. Then under there'll be two O-rings, which I'll show you once that's off, that you also need to either replace or reuse your old ones. Just make sure they're there. But yeah, going well so far. I was expecting the hose pipes removal to be the most difficult part of it, and it wasn't too bad. So yeah, set the camera back up and remove those T30s. Wow, this one's going to be a little bit of a pain. Let's see if we can get it like this. Ooh, you beauty. Beautiful. All right, that's all four cracked loose. Like I said, when you actually come to fully remove them, be prepared that oil is going to be draining. I think what I'm going to do is remove either two, top two or the bottom two, and then I can kind of also take the other ones out afterwards and then pull it out. To catch the oil, because I only have one oil drainer, we've got a professional level oil drainer. These are only used in the best workshops around the globe. So we'll see if this is big enough to catch it's only going to be a bit of oil that comes out of there anyway, but I'll catch you guys up once I've done that, because I definitely don't feel like getting oil on my new GoPro. Okay, not too bad for me anyway. I'm doing it on the floor. I wouldn't say that went too bad. Wow, so now that I've got it off the car and I can do a side-by-side comparison with the RS one, you can really see the difference. I'm getting a similar sort of feeling to when I did my MPS rear sway bar, where when you compare it to another manufacturer, you know, or a different part that's also compatible, you realize that the standard focus one really isn't up to scratch. So these are the two side by side, and you can see, look at the size difference. This thing looks like it's almost twice the size. I honestly didn't realize how big of a size difference it is. I mean, let's just put that on the ground so you can see. Look at that. It's huge, way bigger. And not only is it bigger, like I was saying, this one, the OEM Ford one here, has this plastic around the edges, whereas this one has these fins, which is a bigger surface area. And this is just the direct bolt-on mod. I bought mine from OEM Denied. You guys know I buy a lot of parts from Jamie at OEM Denied. And it was 220 Australian dollars, something like that. So I think a really worthwhile mod, especially because the ST, like if you had this ST in the UK, pretty cold, it'd be right. Today's a 29-degree day, so definitely need to sort out those oil temps, make sure everything's nice and cool. So we'll go ahead and clean it up. So the original O-rings will most likely be green like that. The ones I've got from Jamie replacements are just in there, those black ones. All I've got to do is clean it up with a little bit of brake cleaner, and then I can put my new O-rings in, put the new oil cooler on, and it's basically reversal now. So now it's just reversal of what I've already done, so not too difficult. Then I've obviously got to top the coolant back up, burp it, which isn't really hard to do on a car with an expansion tank, not even really necessary. And then I can take it for a test drive and see how my oil temp's doing. So on the street, my oil temp was always fine, even when I'm hooning it on the street. You won't really have, or at least I didn't have oil temp issues until I jumped onto the track. So I won't get the full sort of potential of this mod until we're on track, but I'm definitely glad that I've gone ahead and done it. So we're nice and clean there now. No oil residue or anything like that, to make sure that these new O-rings we're putting in are definitely going to seal. So we'll just grab those out the packet. And then we'll just put them into their little grooves they're supposed to sit in. Very easy. So this is where we're at now, guys. I've put in about 3.5 litres of new coolant. The old coolant I've kept aside because I had the new stuff anyway, so I prefer to use that if possible. So put about 3.5 in. I think it's going to take some more because about 4 came out. And then I'll show you down here what this oil cooler's looking like. There we are. Nice new oil cooler. Bolts torque striped as always. About ready for the first startup. I'm just going to turn it on. Probably run it for about a minute or two. A lot of the coolant probably drain. I'll have to top some of it up. Engine oil will probably be a little bit low as well because some of that came out. So keep an eye on those sort of things, and then we'll take it for a bit of a test drive. Yeah, and just see how everything goes. When you first start it up, what you want to do is keep an eye on this expansion tank, make sure it's filled up. Because you don't want it to start pulling air through the system, then you'll have an airlock. Now I'm just going to grab a rag and check my engine oil. It is on a slope, but just make sure there is it. Just a minute. We're going to need some more oil as well. Okay guys, so I've ran the car up to temperature now, topped up the coolant, topped up the oil. It's holding temp now, so everything seems all good. Time to put the under tray on and go for a bit of a drive. But that's where I'm going to end today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see me doing more work to the Focus, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next upload, because I've got plenty more videos coming on the Focus and some cool cars coming up on the channel for review. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.